Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Paul Cheon, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. This video is going to be coming out on Sunday, or day 2 of Arena Championship 8, and hopefully I have made it into day 2, but if not, hopefully one of my teammates, Seth Manfield, Liam Kane, or Adam Adelson, have made it into day 2, or maybe they have won the entire tournament by now. But this is the deck that all of us chose to play for the weekend, which is Izzet Phoenix. And the reason why we chose to play this deck is because we felt that it had a lot of play to it. So it allowed us to kind of leverage maybe, the fact that we might have a little more familiarity with the format to our advantage. Whereas, if we played something like a deck like Mono Red Aggro, maybe we wouldn't be able to leverage it as much. So that's why what we chose is we thought this was one of the better proactive strategies where, when you play against a bunch of random decks, this deck does tend to do really well just because you do have good interaction. It's extremely consistent. And once you get your engine running, it's really hard to stop for the most part. And additionally, this deck is very, very resilient to hate cards as well. So I'm going to do a quick deck tech, but then I just want to head straight into the gameplay here. Going into the 1-mana cards here, we have the 12 cantrip effects here in Opt, Sleight of Hand, and Consider. And these are just important to helping you fuel your graveyard and sculpt your perfect hand with whatever it is that you want to kind of get into play. Then you have your 1-mana disruptive spells in Fiery Impulse, Torch the Tower, and Lightning Axe. And this is the split that we chose to go with here for Fiery Impulse just because we thought that full stop this was the best removal spell to have. This is basically 1 red deal 3 damage in most instances, and there's enough 3 toughness creatures in this format: Screaming Nemesis, Fear of Missing Out, Grease Fang, for example, where we wanted to play the full 4 copies. A lot of the lists play 3 Lightning Axes, and we chose to play 2 just because in a lot of the more grindy matchups, like sure, it's nice because it can kill Shieldred, but the thing is, oftentimes you don't really want to be discarding cards or down a card in that instance. And a lot of the time, you kind of play like the role of an Izzet control deck. And it's nice to discard Phoenixes when you have it, but I don't really like discarding other things. So we ended up trimming down to 2. And then we wanted a redundant removal spell. So we played a Torch to Tower as well, because that was the other best 1-mana removal spell around. For additional interaction, we have a copy of Stern Dismissal and Into the Floodmaw. These both do roughly the same thing. Stern Dismissal is nicer when you're bouncing things like opposing artist talents or other enchantments, because when you can bounce enchantments, they don't get a fish. Whereas Into the Floodmaw is better because this is better against a variety of hate cards, right? If you play against Unlicensed Hearse, if you play against Narset, Parter of Veils, this card gets all of those cards. But we had the 1-1 split here because we thought that there were matchups where Into the Flood, like for example, when you play against Rakdos midrange, sometimes you want to bounce Unholy Annex, and you don't want to give them a fish token because oftentimes they can race you, and so giving them the fish actually does hurt. So we went with the 1-1 split there. 1 copy of Spell Pierce as well, just as a way to have some extra interaction against control. And then we get to our kind of 2-mana spells here. And this is one of the newer additions to the Phoenix deck that which we haven't had, maybe if you played Phoenix 2-3 years ago, this wasn't available. And this is Artist Talent, and this card really puts this deck over the top. When you can play a turn 2 Artist Talent, it feels like you're playing a different format entirely. Because when you get this going, every spell that you play allows you to loot, which means it's a really good way to get Phoenixes into your graveyard, and it's also a really great way to fuel your graveyard to be able to cast your big delve cards in Treasure Cruise and Temporal Trespass. Additionally, we have 4 copies of Picklock Prankster, another really good way to fuel your graveyard with Phoenixes and then helping find a spell. Most often, you want to find Treasure Cruise. It's a really good combination to draw you some cards. And then we have Jwari Disruption as basically land number 19, and also as a way to interact with your opponents. Now we have, of course, 4 copies of Arclight Phoenix. Don't leave home without it. You fill up your graveyard, you put Arclight Phoenixes there, there's a ton of 1-mana spells, you play a bunch of the spells, you get Phoenixes into play, and then you kill your opponents. Then you have 4 copies of Treasure Cruise. Don't leave home without it. This deck is really great at filling up your graveyard. You play this, you gas up, and then once you kind of get this chain going, you will basically always have things to do. And then we have kind of the flex slots in this deck. Some decks play 2 copies of Proph's Eidetic Memory, and some decks play Galvanic Iteration and Temporal Trespass as the flex slots. Oftentimes, the second Proph's Eidetic Memory goes with a second copy of Spell Pierce, so you get a little more interaction, But I think the Galvanic Iteration Temporal Trespass combination is specifically better in the mirror. And I've also liked it a lot. It's a really strong and powerful game one interaction to have when your opponents don't bring in Graveyard Hate. When they don't have Graveyard Hate, this just buys you so much time and basically guarantees that you're going to win the game if you can get these two going. So that's what we're going with here. Props Eidetic Memory is also really nice with Artist Talent, because if you get this in play with a creature, with Artist Talent, it is very easy to set up a turn where you put 6 or 7 counters on one of your creatures and just win the game on the spot. So that's the main deck. Sideboard here, we'll go really, really quick. Annuls for enchantments, Chandra's Defeat, and Red Cap Melee for the red matchups. We played one of each for various reasons. Red Cap Melee, if you're playing against a non-mono red deck, let's say you want to kill a Mutavault or a Sentinel of the Nameless City after sideboard, it still gives you an out to be able to target those things. But Chandra's Defeat is better because the mono red decks are playing Chandra in their sideboard and it deals 1 more damage. 2 copies of Aether Gust, we really wanted to beat on mono red. So we have Red Cap Melee, Chandra's Defeat, and 2 Aether Gusts in the sideboard. Abrade and Prismari Command for the various artifact hate cards. Change the Equation, another good anti-mono red card. Specifically to counter Sunspine Lynx, which is very, very popular in mono red. 1 copy of Negate, extra win conditions in Third Path Iconoclast, and Crackling Drake, which has been somewhat impressive in the mid-range matchups. Another Brazen Borrower for the slower matchups and against hate cards, and 2 Mystical Disputes for the blue matchup. So that was a quick little deck tech here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and play some Magic. Now, I will say, I was really nervous when the rest of my team was really high on this deck early on, because I've never been a Phoenix player. I've never really played the Phoenix deck in any iteration prior to this, or to any success when testing other formats. So, this deck is a difficult deck to play when you just pick it up. There's a lot of sequencing things that you need to pick up with, counting the cards in your graveyard for Delve, interactions with Artist Talent. So I still haven't perfected all the lines with this deck. I think it's really hard to ever perfect all the lines, but I've played this enough to the point where I think I'm at least going to be pretty proficient with the deck, and I know maybe 85 to 90% of what I should be doing, and then somebody like Seth Manfield, for example, will probably know 95% of what to do with the deck. All right, playing first here. 3 interactive spells, Consider, Sleight of Hand, and Stern Dismissal. Certainly hoping I'm playing against a deck with a bunch of creatures, but being on the play with Spirebluff Canal, which is just the absolute best land in this deck, I'm going to keep this and really hope that my deck manipulation cards will get me to where I need to go. So here, this is really interesting because the question is, do you Sleight of Hand? What cantrip spell do you cast first? It really depends, but right now we really need a land, so it doesn't really matter which one we choose. I think no matter what, I will be looking for a land here. And we did not find a land here, and I do believe Artist Talent is better than Picklock Prankster, so I will take it here. Hopefully we can find a land here to play on number 2 with playing against mono red. All right, here we go. Now, I can't afford to miss a land drop here, so I'm still going to play Consider. We have looked at many cards. We did find the Otawara. Now, I'm going to have to keep this, but it sucks because I can't play my red removal spells here. And mono red is, by the way, our worst matchup, which is why we have so many cards in the sideboard for the matchup specifically. Oh, but this is an Ancestral Anger version of the deck. I'm just going to bounce this in response, just so they don't draw the card here. And this should go a little bit better for me. I still don't love it, but it should go a little bit better for me. Here I have an interesting choice. I can either try to get the engine of my deck rolling with Artist Talent, or I can just run out a removal spell. I think I'm going to run out the Artist Talent here. I'm at 20 life, and my hand needs a lot to actually improve here. So this is definitely a shields down moment. Let's hope that our opponent can't just fully, absolutely wreck us this turn. It looks like they're going to somewhat wreck us this turn. We'll see what happens. Probably, oh, nothing. Wow. Okay, so that is another Artist Talent, which I don't really care too much for. So now I think it's time to start firing off some of these removal spells. It's just really awkward because I don't have double red here. All right, I'm going to go for Fiery Impulse on Heartfire Hero here. And I will discard... It's either Artist Talent or Temporal Trespass. I think I'll discard the Trespass here. That's really, really unfortunate. Oh, so missing on land drops, definitely very, very painful here. We'll note that it's pretty hard for my opponent to save the Heartfire hero here. If they have Monstrous Rage, it turns this into a 3 toughness creature. And so I think it's going to be pretty... Oh, I did not consider turn inside out. We'll note that this isn't really this isn't as popular of a configuration that people play. Double turn inside out, so this is going to be very, very rough here for us. I think we're probably actually just dead, honestly. To have double turn inside out there is really, really tough. It's a Leyline of Resonance deck, so it's a more all-in deck here. But we just took 8 damage here, and we're going to take way, way more. Yeah. I mean, when the mono red deck does its thing and you stumble, you're just going to lose. That's simple as that. I'm just going to concede this game. We're just dead. We just missed on too many land drops. With the double... Like, we really need to hit off that first sleight of hand. Or at least string together multiple lands with that loot, but we were not able to. All right, after sideboard here, double Ether Gust, change the equation. Chandra's defeat, Red Cat melee. A Braid will also go in. I think the Iconoclast is probably not good enough, and I think the Crackling Drake is also too slow. Here, I do take out the Time Walk combination. I also cut Spell Pierce. I do like the bounce effects here, particularly against my opponent's version of the deck. Cut the Jwari Disruption, and then usually you want to cut a couple of sleight of hands, just because I like to play an instant speed game here. So this seems pretty good. We get to keep all the removal spells in, still have 10 cantrip effects, and still have our very powerful 2-mana effects. Now, I will say when I'm on the draw, I might look to shave one of my 2-mana plays here. Although, granted, I don't really have anything really great to bring in. But yeah, let's try something like this and see how this goes. Wow, double... I was just playing around Monstrous Rage. That's the typical list that I've been seeing. Okay, here, this is a hand that I certainly do need to mulligan. No cantrips with only 1 land. Let's mulligan that, and we will keep this hand here. It's just got a bunch of interaction, which is good. Let's do that. And I'm just gonna... I don't want to take any extra damage, so I'm just gonna play this tapped and just kind of play a turn behind, but at the same time just not take extra damage, because if they play a creature this turn, I can just impulse it and then play another tap land. And then this just gives me access to a bunch of red sources. Now this turn, because I drew the 1-mana removal spell, it's kind of tempting here. I think I'm actually going to take 2 damage here, because now I can go Chandra's Defeat, untap, and then still keep up Gust and a Braid. Let's see what they do. Heartfire Hero. And Heartfire Hero. Okay. Let's just fire one off. Just got to try to use some of my mana while I still can. Drawing the Treasure Cruise there was excellent. I'm going to just pass here, though. I can just take the 1 damage here. Why do you play with... I don't understand casting Play with Fire while you attack. I mean, they clearly have something. And if they just pass, then that's a pretty good spot for me. Just gonna play it patiently here. Always leave mana up. And drawing the Consider was good because that allows me to dig for more lands. Soulscar Mage, sure. Don't need that Treasure Cruise. Red Cat melee is interesting. I think I do want to try to fire that off on Soulscar Mage. This one is much less punishing if they have turn inside out. And if they cast Monstrous Rage on it, that's fine. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, like, they just made a 2/2. I do need to start killing these creatures, though. They do, the damage does add up. Oh, hold on. Okay, I need to upgrade that. All right, well, I mean, the damage is still adding up here, and it's like, I am playing this, like, awkward blue-red control deck, but I'm still taking damage every single turn, so it's not ideal. So I could Ether Gust the Heartfire Hero and cast Treasure Cruise. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just, like, to make sure that I can hit my land drop this turn and still use this as a removal spell. This does keep me vulnerable to any number of things, but I think I need to cast a Treasure Cruise here just to kind of get my game plan going. Alright, and then we drew land into Sleight of Hand, and we drew some extra removal, which is good. I'll keep the Stern Dismissal, and hopefully my opponent doesn't kill me with this Detective. Okay, that's not enough. Okay. Let's see how this goes. So I have a Stern Dismissal for the token, and then I have a Fiery Impulse here. Oh, this is gross. So they have one more card in hand. And it's like, what? It's like, what combat trick can they be representing? Because if I bounce it, if I Fiery Impulse this, if they have something else, then I have to bounce this in response, or else I die. Alternatively, I can just bounce the Heartfire Hero and go for the Impulse, but then if they have Monstrous Rage, I die. I'm going to Impulse this in response and see what happens. Okay, that worked. Okay, so then now I can bounce this. Okay, that was good. Yeah, I don't know if I should have kept the Prop's Eidetic Memory, but Consider just gets things going quicker, which I like. All right, so let's go Consider. Just to fill up our graveyard here. More cards in the graveyard, and then we have Treasure Cruise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, red is a tough matchup. It's like this Heartfire Hero can definitely just kill us at any point. But we need any card. Oh my gosh. How do I miss there? Oh, that is brutal. If this was a proactive spell like an Ether Gust, it would have worked. Oh man. That's really rough. I do not think I should play this Artist Talent to hit something. I think my best chance here is to keep up Change the Equation. I don't love it at all. I gotta counter this, because if they have a spell, I die anyways. If they have a spell that counters a Heartfire Hero and I counter that, I still take 4 damage. All right, and now they have to make the decision. It's like, do I have something? Okay. Okay, I'm going to hold the Opt because I have 2 Phoenixes in my graveyard. Let's go to our main phase. We have 6 cards in the graveyard. All right, let's go cast Opt. I actually don't care about this Artist Talent. I'd rather have another untapped land to play and just see what I hit. Okay, that's an Arclight Phoenix. I have 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in the graveyard, so let's go with Picklock Prank. I'm actually just going to play this island here. And let's go Picklock Prankster, free the Fae. Discard the Arclight Phoenix. We drew Fiery Impulse. I really want a counter spell. Could not find it though, sadly. All right, let's go ahead and Treasure Cruise here. 1, 2. Oh, did I play 3? Hold on. I got to think about this. Oh, that's what I do. I just don't discard one of my Fiery Impulses. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now let's cast this. Okay, we're at 2. Okay, and they don't have a pump spell. Okay. I'm gonna attack because I have a Fiery Impulse. I am still interested in trying to close out the game. Heartfire Hero, yikes. They could have a play with fire. All right, I will wait. Okay, there you go. Consider. Discard Arclight Phoenix. This could be just enough. Play Opt. Discard the land. Oh, Ether Gust, that is perfect. Okay, now we have this game. I don't need to play anything else. I just play the Opt here, and I have all the removal. Sure. And then we get the 4th Phoenix into play. And at 2 life, we win the game. Woo! It takes a lot to beat mono red. They either need to stumble or you just need just the perfect combination of things to go well. So, like, despite the so you might look at my sideboard and be like, wow, Paul, you really wanted to beat red. No, it's more like I didn't want to just get completely run over by red. That's all there was to it with this, honestly. Because it is a really tough matchup. Maybe I just want another bounce effect. Because they're just kind of trying to go all in anyways. So yeah, I'll try that and cut a prankster. No, I'll cut a talent. I'm not sure which one it is, but on the draw, like with the prankster, you can play the instant speed game where you leave mana up and you can represent removal and or cast removal spells, whereas you can't do that with Artist Talent. But I do think it's pretty close. And even within my team, it's like we're not 100% on which 2-drop is the correct thing to kill there. All right, Leyline of Residence. That is terrifying. I am killing this Soulscar Mage right now when I can. And I can Ether Gust the Leyline, so that's actually quite nice. So we'll see what happens here. They need to have like the perfect mix of just like creatures and spells here, so... Okay. Wow. So they drew 2 cards and dealt... Okay. Well, I'm not gonna... I'm just putting this on top. Or I'm killing it. It's just... It's just... It completely changes how this game is played if that thing is in play, I feel. And look, they didn't even go for a pump spell here. That's good for us. Ooh, and we drew a land. That is so good for us. Okay, so let's go Island. I can go Artist. So because they didn't play anything, I'm going to just play the Artist Talent. This could be famous last words, but they don't have a Heartfire Hero. But I feel like getting this Artist Talent here is going to be very, very important. I don't know what to discard, though. It's like, do I discard Picklock Prankster? Do I just discard nothing? You know what? I'll discard the Prankster. Like, you just want to keep digging where you can. Let's see. How many cards are in my graveyard? 4. I guess I can Treasure Cruise with this. You know, the thing with this matchup is you just play it very patiently. I think you're supposed to play it very patiently here. Leveling up the Artist Talent, I think, is really going to unlock my hand. So I'm just going to take it. Like, it's not a race to getting the first Phoenix in play, right? It's just trying your best to completely take over the board and stabilize. And I think by doing this, I feel like I'm in a better spot this way. And here, yeah, let's just go ahead and bounce this, prevent the card draw, and try to find more interaction. And there's nothing they can do about Ether Gust, which is great. I've used both of my Ether Gust, though, but that's why we have 2 in the sideboard. It's a really fantastic card in this matchup. Now we're going to free the Fae and start going to town. We're at 16 life. We have an Artist Talent going. We're about to Treasure Cruise. Life is good. They're going to, what, cast Play with Fire here? Deal 2 to me? I don't know. I don't know what they can play. The mono red deck's pretty limited in terms of what it can actually bring in. So I only need to exile 6 things. Just need to make sure there's at least 2 spells in my graveyard, just to make sure there's spell mastery on Fiery Impulse. Let's discard. Normally, I like keeping untapped lands, but with the Spire Bluff Canal and the fact that we're casting Treasure Cruise, I think I can discard it here to Artist Talent. We found another Picklock Prankster, so we're going to go ahead and fire that off. Let's discard Spire Bluff Canal, because it is the worst land for our deck now. Let's hit some more Phoenixes, shall we? We've gone through half of our deck, so it's only fair that we find another one, right? Okay, we did not find one. We have a removal spell already, so at this point, I think I just want to keep just drawing through my entire deck. I'm going to play this as an island, and I can play Treasure Cruise here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 2 spells in the graveyard, sure. And I still have an Abrade as a removal spell. So leveling up the talent, I think, was really, really big. Yeah, we get to draw more cards. I mean, look at this. Look at how silly the Artist Talent can be. And I have a hand just chock full of removal here. So I am feeling very, very good about this. We have Torch the Tower, Chandra's Defeat, Abrade. As long as the creature they play isn't Heartfire Hero, I'm feeling okay. Like, Soulscar Mage is totally fine. What does this do? Target creature you control gains haste. Why did I let the prowess resolve? That was a mistake. Anyways, let's go. Chandra's Defeat. This is not a Heartfire Hero, so I'm feeling good about this. They can't save it. That doesn't do anything. Because they can't... It's still dead. So they just made a 2/2, I guess. Yeah, okay. We are so ridiculously ahead at this point. It's going to be extremely hard to lose this game. Just cycling through our deck. 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And given that I have so much already, I think I'm just going to pitch one of these ops. I value actually the untapped island more. All right, let's play an opt. Come on, where's my Phoenixes? Okay, there we go. Our opponent had enough. Our opponent had enough. And there you go. First round win. Mono red is a tough matchup. That is a game where they kind of stumbled, but we also had a good draw and we drew our sideboard cards, right? They did have 1 drop into Leyline. We had removal spell into Ether Gust on the Leyline, which was really important, and then that helped us a bunch. Now, if they had Heartfire Hero or Cacophony Scamp, the game is much, much different. Soulscar Mage is by far the worst 1 drop that they can play, specifically against us. All right, another round here on the play. Always a good feeling. Let's take a look at our hand here. Opt, Spell Pierce, Shwari Disruption. So I have basically, as far as opening hands go, it's like you want a nice mix of cantrips, interaction, and very importantly, you want, if possible, a Picklock Prankster or an Artist Talent in your opening hand. But if not, cantrips also certainly work. On the play, yeah, I'm definitely keeping this. Not really sure which land to lead with here, though. I'm on the play. You can make an argument. I think I kind of like all of my lands here. And I don't feel the need to cast Opt here because I can't play a turn 2 untap land anyways. So I do think I should play a tap land here. And I think it's going to be the Disruption. Just because like this will just give me access to the 3rd mana source. And of course now, I wish I had this in my hand because I drew a 3rd land. But that's totally fine here. Zaya-Taurus Proving Ground? Without Yorion, what are you playing? Fear of Missing Out. Okay. Maybe they're playing like... Rakdos midrange is popular, but I haven't seen Jund midrange, really. Wait, what is this? Zetalpa. So it's like a Reanimator deck of some kind, which I really haven't played against too much, but it's okay. All right, we will take the Impulse, as it's literally the only card we can get. Play Storm-Carved Coast. Let's go Sleight of Hand. Let's take the Axe, because I already have land number 4. And then I guess I can just pass. I do have a Spell Pierce here, so if they have some, you know, this is not a common, whatever my opponent's playing is not a commonly played deck. I'm just going to take the 2 here to keep up Spell Pierce, see what they do. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, I should probably Spell Pierce. Although I will cast Opt first, just in case. Don't want that. Just gives me more information. Okay. Then I will Spell Pierce this. Then I will Impulse this. And then we will play Treasure Cruise. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hopefully we can find an Artist Talent. Stern Dismissal is nice. If they reanimate this, we can just bounce it, which is great. And I have literally nothing I can do. Let's just play a Picklock Prankster, I guess. It's not the ideal cards to hit off of the Treasure Cruise. Like, 19 cards deep. You really want one of the Artist Talent? How did... Oh, I milled that one. Yeah, that's the issue. Nullhide Ferox, what the hell? What is happening here? That is a large monster. I can pay 2 mana to bounce it if I need. All right, well, let's lead things off with Opt and see what we find. Another Phoenix. I guess I'll keep it. The old defensive Phoenix. Actually, let's see. You know what? Let's just attack. Sometimes you just get them with Snare Thopters. All right, I'll block. I'll block this. This is trample? No. At least it doesn't have trample. Fear of missing out? Sure. Caryatid? How are they getting Zetalpa in play? I actually don't know. Okay, there's a maybe they're just hard casting it. It's not really a race I'm winning. Unless I took the 6. Like, I deal 6 to them, they go to 8, then they do 8 to me. Oh, it is a race I'm winning. Okay. Yeah, let's go with that then. Just want to give myself the most options here with my mana. I don't really need to play land number 7. Oh, they took 2. Okay. Wait, what happened? Oh, so they are now going to cast a non-creature spell. Got it. Grizzly Salvage. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what their deck's trying to do. Oh, is it a... No, this is... I've never seen this deck before. Anyways, we still need to make the most of whatever information we have. I'm sure Brazen Borrower is good. I'm sure they're going to bring in some amount of Graveyard Hate, so let's take that out. It's a really good Game 1 type of thing, but Galvanic Iteration and the Time Walk combo goes out a lot. Don't need red cards. Don't think I want a null. Like, they had Fable of the Mirror Breaker, but it wasn't clear what else they had. Grizzly Salvage, Nullhide Ferox. All right, Ether Gust and Change the Equation seem fine. Certainly feels like a type of deck where Negate could also be good. Crackling Drake could be good if they have a lot of Graveyard Hate. And then, what is it? Prismari Command? Doesn't really... Well, let's see. Okay, that could be an option too. I don't think I like Third Path Iconoclast here. All right, as far as removal goes, I think Torch the Tower is pretty bad. Fiery Impulse is interesting because it kills the... I'll get rid of the axes. I didn't see... Like, they had Nullhide Ferox. This at least kills Fear of Missing Out and the Fable token. Spell Pierce? I don't know about Spell Pierce and Negate, actually. Can cut, like, 1 Hand Disruption effect. I think the bounce spells are good, given that we saw the Zetalpas. Maybe I just boarded in enough counters where I don't need both of these. And with all the mana and me being on the draw, let's just cut Spell Pierce and just keep the 1 Negate here. I'm not even entirely sure how good the Negate is, but let's try this configuration and see where this goes. The Prismari Command's also fine. It kills Fable, and if they bring in Unlicensed Hearse, it's a totally fine card too. And since I'm bringing out Lightning Axes, it's another way to discard my Phoenixes. All right, well, this is a hand that's got interaction, and we're going to be leaning very heavily on Artist Talent. And okay, Leyline of the Void. All right. Well, this is us. The challenge is on. The challenge is on. Can we beat a Leyline of the Void? Off a Mold of 5, I'm pretty confident that I can, but we'll see how this goes. I'll just keep the land here. Ugh. The thing is, Artist Talent will just draw me so many cards or let me dig through so many cards where this isn't really an issue. And I just want to get the talent in play as soon as possible. I don't mind taking the 1 damage here, but what I do mind is my opponent casting Thoughtseize and getting Artist Talent out of my hand. Okay. Grizzly Salvage. They got a land. All right, we are digging. Yeah, I don't know if I wanted the Fiery Impulse. I'm not really sure what I wanted there. Oh, they found another bat, I guess. Picklock Prankster doesn't actually work, huh? Against Leyline of the Void. All right. So I guess I'll discard it for now. I just want lands, honestly. Okay. Yeah, I'm just on the... I'm just gonna play a Phoenix here. Just get something going. Sometimes you just gotta play basic Magic. Overlord of the Baelmerk. I don't really know what's going on that side. We'll note that the Ether Gust looks pretty bad. But so does the Treasure Cruise, I guess, for now. I'll keep the Artist Talent. All right. Now we get to basically sift through our entire deck with 5 lands, which I am more than happy with. I don't even know what this does. What just... Oh, so this works with the Zetalpa. Wait. Oh, it's got a hexproof. All right. All right. All right, time to just basically dig through the entire deck here and see what we can find. That is an answer. That is also an answer. So this is fantastic. They're at 12 life. The question is, can I get something going right now? I think so? Or do I wait till end of turn? Maybe I wait. Yeah, maybe I wait. I don't think there's value in making the other one cheaper just because all my spells cost 2 mana. So I'm just going to chill here. Deep Cavern Bat. Okay, so now I'm going to bounce the Leyline. Still going to dig. Okay, Treasure Cruise was amazing. Okay, and then now we can kill the Deep Cavern Bat. And I'm going to discard Brazen Borrower. I'm just trying to fill up my graveyard right now. Okay. They can't take anything. All right. And now we have 4 cards in the graveyard. And we'll see how this goes. Oh, so it's got lifelink. Look at them go. Okay, so actually I'm going to wait on my opt and wait till I draw a card for my turn so I can fill up my graveyard before casting Treasure Cruise. Actually, even better yet, I'll cast Consider. Discard opt. Discard Artist Talent. Okay. Consider. Keep Treasure Cruise. Do I have a Phoenix in the yard? No. All right. Now we get to cast Treasure Cruise. We get to basically draw our whole deck at this point. And feeling very, very good about this. Again, I'm going to just put the Consider into my graveyard. We're just so likely to find more. I don't want to discard Prankster, I don't think. So let's just naturally draw cards. All right. All right, so now we go Picklock Prankster. We can discard Arclight Phoenix. Discard Prismari Command. Hit another Arclight Phoenix. Perfect. We get to now cast... How many Phoenixes are in the yard? That many? Okay. So we get to play Treasure Cruise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I think Sleight of Hand is probably the worst card in our hand. Because I do want to play the Storm Carved Coast. Discard that. Crackling Drake is interesting. It's huge. Alright. Okay, perfect. Let's play Storm Carved Coast, and I'd like to keep up Counter Magic here. And let's attack for 9. Perfect. That's how you beat hate. You just wait. You just wait because when you go once you get the talent in play, you just need the one turn and you just totally go off. Like we got the cost reduction going. We have 14 cards in our library. How is this not broken, right? I can't target. Am I dead? Double strike? Huh. I actually don't think the Drake is the answer. Okay. So they're going to hit me for 10? Wait a second here. The fact that it is hexproof, that's crazy. Okay, hold on. So now I need to find Prof's Eidetic Memory. I need to find Prof's Eidetic Memory here, and I don't think I've hit it yet. Okay, so I have 11 cards to dig for the Prof's Eidetic Memory, and I wonder if I'm regretting some of my discard choices, but hopefully we can find some action here. I gotta actually full control this. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna actually Juari Disruption this. Because I need to sift through more cards here. So full control is very important here. Seven cards left. Pay 1. Picklock Prankster and Ether Gust. Picklock Prankster doesn't really work because I don't want to mill that card. But there's nothing to Ether Gust, really. Oh, okay. I guess I can do that. I'll take the Ether Gust. But you know what? It's okay. I can just go into the Flood Maw for now. How many cards? I need it to not be the last. Oh, it's definitely not the last card in the library. That's perfect. Okay, so we can go into the Flood Maw, bounce this. Discard Spire Bluff. Discard Change the Equation. There's the Profs. Okay. And then now there's 4 cards left in my deck. There's the last Phoenix. Decline. Woo! I almost got cheesed out there, but we found the line. And this is why. Like, when this deck goes off, like, it feels like even when your opponents do their thing, you still have outs. You have the Time Walk combo. You have Prof's Eidetic Memory. So you always have to be looking at your graveyard and what you exiled. And the scariest part about this deck is when you use the fairy prankster, whatever, the 2-drop, I can't, right now my brain's not working. The 2-mana fairy, if you mill the Prof's Eidetic Memory, things do get a little more tricky. But we're 2-0 on the play here. Let's see. We have Shivan Reef. Oh, gosh. On the play, I really don't like Shivan Reef in general. If I don't know what my opponent's playing, if my opponent's playing mono red, it's really tough. But I'm going to keep this because I don't know what my opponent's playing. I'm on the play. I have a good card against aggro and a good card against control, and I have 2 deck manipulation spells, and I have a Picklock Prankster. So all I need to do is just make sure I can find an untapped land within the next 3 draw steps. All right, Den of the Bugbear. Fair enough. I can't keep the impulse. Okay, perfect. All right, Soul Scar Mage. Do I kill that now? Or do I wait? I think I wait. Because if they play an Emberheart Challenger, I'd much rather kill that. I should generally save Fiery Impulse for Screaming Nemesis, but this is still pretty bad, just because this is my only red source and I take a bunch of damage. Yeah, just take 1. That's fine. Oh, okay, so they're like more of a combo-y deck here. Slick Shot Show Off. Why is nobody playing the actual good mono red deck? And by that, I mean the deck that basically everybody's been playing on Magic Online. It's like the most popular deck right now. All right, I'm going to play Consider because I really still just want to hit lands. That's 100% not what I wanted to draw. Let's torch that. Okay, we did hit a land there. That's good. Just every time we're casting a red spell, though, we're just taking damage, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, I will say the Spell Pierce is not terrible here. If they plan on going with the Slick Shot Show-Off thing, it's not that bad. Like, they can't really save it. They have no spells either that they're playing, so this isn't too bad either. Yep, this is fine. And I don't think I'm going to fire off this removal spell end of turn, so I'm going to just leave up a blue because it's more likely that I find an opt or a consider to want to play end of turn. Or Treasure Cruise, that's a great one as well. 7 cards. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? Let's start with Fiery Impulse on the Monastery Swift Spear. See what happens. Okay, that just instantly happened. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Treasure Cruise. Okay. Sleight of hand or opt. Let's go sleight of hand here. And I definitely want this one. It's kind of funny because, like, and I'm going to play this as a blue source to keep up Spell Pierce. And I'm going to keep the Arclight Phoenix back on defense here. I'm still not in a position to win the game. We do have the Iteration Trespass combo, but it's really hard to pull off until I find an Artist Talent. Ouch. It's going to be really bad if they play a 1-mana removal spell. Yeah. That's rough. All right, so we're at 5. Gonna need to find something good here. Jwari Disruption is not it. Prof's Eidetic Memory, also not it. Fiery Impulse could be it. I go to 2? Jesus, I can't do that. I mean, going to 3 is also really bad. Oh, man. This blocks. think we're dead. Oh no, we're not dead yet. Okay, we're not dead yet, but we're at 2. They're gonna skewer, we spell pierce, and then we're at 2 life. Okay. Well, this is certainly not gonna be easy. And by that I mean I think I'm dead. 3, let's see. Eidetic memory, temporal trespass. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, I can take another turn, but that doesn't really do much for me, right? Yeah, the Shivan Reef definitely killed us this game. Yeah, I'm dead to the land. The Ramunap ruins. Alright, well, we got our butt kicked, but it's okay. Let's regroup here. Aethergust, change. Chandra's Defeat, Red Cap Melee, Abrade. Do like all of those cards. Still have more cards we need to cut here. Usually 2 sleight of hands. This is usually what we typically tend to do. Not clear on the disruption, but you're not usually countering too many things here with that card. I like all the interaction, all the removal that I can get. And yeah, with 10 cantrips, yeah, this seems fine. All right, play first. Sleight of hand. I'll keep. Steam Vents is a better land than the Shivan Reef. And like this just has Lightning Axe plus Phoenix into the Floodmaw. Just of course need to find a land here. We did. Riverglide Pathway. Very, very happy that we were able to find that. Now in this matchup, I probably just want to play this for red. Just because I just have a lot of cheap red cards in my deck that I'm interested in casting. No 1-drop, interesting. What do you have then? Slick Shot maybe? Yeah. Glad they didn't just cast it there. Wow. These are all amazing in this matchup. I think Fiery Impulse is actually just the best here. It's just the cheapest. Yeah, and I just want to look for treasure cruises at this point. Like the change the equation was in here specifically for Sunspine Lynx. Damn it, I should have kept changing the equation. Oh well. This is fine. I mean, I gotta kill it somehow, right? Alright, dealt 3 damage to me and I can't gain life. I still think it was correct based on the amount of mana that we had available. I just like the fact that it was a cheap, efficient 1-mana play. We'll get another cheap, efficient 1-mana play here. Sleight of hand, try to find a land. This one's interesting, right? It's like, do I want Phoenix or do I want land? And honestly, I'm just going to take land here. I can just play the control game here, and we can still win that way. I just don't want to fall behind on mana. Soulscar Mage, sure. Just keep pranking all the locks. Now let's... Ooh, this is interesting. I can choose between Ether Gust or a deck manipulation spell. I have so much interaction. I think I'm going to take Consider. I really need to find Treasure Cruise or an Artist Talent. Like, this is getting kind of brutal here. So if I can chain the Consider into another card draw spell, then I can at least Lightning Axe the Soulscar Mage, right? And that'll at least put 1 Phoenix in play. Wow. Yeah, I'll keep that too. There's no way they're saving this, so... It's a lot of pranksters, I will say. Alright, 1 Phoenix in play. Got to get the party started, right? I don't know. I mean, I know they have this show off, but the thing is, it looks like they're playing a very burn-heavy version of this deck where I can just use the Chandra's Defeat to kill the show off. Now, if they play another show off, yeah, that could have been pretty bad for me. But I don't know. I think they would have oh, they have the links too. Yikes. Ouch. Or they brought it out of the sideboard. Fair enough. Oh, that's just what the doctor ordered. Treasure Cruise. Wait, I gotta be careful about this. Let's see. There's still 2 spells in the yard. We're fine. So if I can just find like 1 cantrip spell here, or just anything else to cast that's not one of these red cards, because I can just use Lightning Axe on the Sunspine Lynx. I have 9 cards. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back-to-back treasure cruises. That is awesome, awesome, awesome for us. And let's see. Do I want blue or red here? I don't think it matters. Let's go blue. 3 red seems like it's going to be enough here. Let's go Lightning Axe. Target. Discard Arclight Phoenix. So we cast 2 treasure cruises with the Arclight Phoenix. And I still have Into the Floodmaw plus Chandra's Defeat. Oh, I should refrain from playing too many more lands, though, because of the Sunspine Lynxes that they have. But they probably have some burn, though. I do feel like I need to be somewhat proactive. And given the fact that I have both Chandra's Defeat and Into the Floodmaw, like, I think I can make this attack and put some pressure on them. Okay, here we go. Show off time. They only have 1 mana, though. Yeah, I'm just going to kill Den of the Bugbear. And then if they hit me for 1, I mean, that's fine. They're going to Wizard's Lightning me, maybe? Spikefield Hazard, sure. Let's bounce this. Alright, we're at 10 life. 6 cards in... Yeah, okay. Alright, we got that one. We got that one. And now we are going to be on the draw here. And this is always, of course, going to be the toughest thing about this particular matchup. Especially, yeah, they have the Screaming Nemesis and the Sunspine Lynx too. It's just they're going for the Wizard package, the Wizard Prowess package, instead of the Mouse package. And it's not clear to me. Like, I think the Mouse package is worse for me in general. But the Wizard package is also pretty scary. I think it's the exact same. I wonder if Brazen Borrower is playable. Probably not, right? It's a little more interesting because they have Slickshot Payoff, or Show Off. Let's just go with the same configuration. Alright, Mono Red, Chandra Avatar. They are just representing the mountains very well. Hopefully we get a really nice hand with good interaction and mana, mostly. I could have seen cutting maybe one of the 2 mana cards for a Sleight of Hand. Although, can I really be spending time to cast Sleight of Hands? Maybe I just should not go down to 18 lands. I don't know. Okay, opponent on the play. It's a 1-lander, but I do have the Stern Dismissal here. And I have the really important 2 mana cards. So I have a piece of interaction, consider to help me find land number 2. So I think this is borderline, but I'm going to keep it. Also, there's definitely a case, like, if you expected the metagame to be mostly mono-red, then there's definitely a case to be made to just not play any tap lands. Like, I can totally see that being the case. Just play a 19 land mana base with mostly untapped lands, and I would totally be on board. I could even see a world where you don't play Shivan Reef if you think it's going to be all mono red. But that thing is, and it looks like my opponent's disconnected. I'm not going to play any more matches, but just in terms of metagame, I am recording this video before the metagame article is out. But I will basically say, we're 2.5-0. That's our record. But I think at least I got to kind of showcase what this Izzet Phoenix deck is capable of. It can absolutely just do completely busted things with Artist Talent. Artist Talent is absolutely busted in this deck, and it just makes the deck way, way more resilient. Whereas before, if your opponent just got a Leyline of the Void in play, let's say the version with just the cantrips, it was just much, much harder to find the Stern Dismissal, the Flood Maw, the Brazen Borrower to bounce the Leyline. But now, if you can stick or land or turn to Artist Talent, I mean, it's just inevitable, right? You just keep the Phoenixes in your hand, you discard everything else, nothing else really matters. You just churn through your deck until you find the bounce spell, and then you kill your opponent. And that's one of the main reasons to play this deck. What's weird is I don't really see a lot of Phoenix on the Arena ladder. I see players play it on Magic Online, and it's really baffling to me because I still think it is a good deck. But full disclosure, I do think we have a bad mono red matchup. I think mono red is like at least 55% favored. Maybe like 57% favored. And then I think the adjustments that we made to our sideboard by playing 2 of the 1 mana kill spells for red things and the 2 Ether Gusts instead of 1 and a change the equation, that probably moved the needle in our favor 2%. So if we were a 43% in the matchup, this probably made it so we're a 45% in the matchup. And you know what? Every percentage point matters. And so I think we really liked our deck against a lot of other decks, which is why we chose this, because here is the thing. Mono red's going to be popular. Absolutely. Or Gruul or whatever. It's going to be maybe 20% of the metagame. That's the hope, okay? If we're way off base, that's going to suck. But if it's 20% of the metagame, that's fine. One of the decks I think a lot of people are going to be looking to move into because mono red is going to be one of the more popular decks is Rakdos Midrange. Because Rakdos Midrange is one of the best decks in the format. It's got the tools to beat most decks as long as you want to make sure you dedicate the sideboard slots to do so. So I think Rakdos Midrange has probably a small edge against mono red. Maybe it's 55-45 there. And if a lot of people are going to play Rakdos Midrange, because I fully expect Rakdos Midrange to be the most played deck in this format, in this tournament, maybe 25%. If that happens, I like the Rakdos mid-range matchup. I think Izzet is favored. I played a bunch of games against Rakdos. Rakdos certainly has cards and draws that can beat you. And anytime a deck can bring in 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Duress, right, with some pressure, like that can work. But this deck is really resilient to hand disruption. You've got 12 cantrip effects. You have 4 Pranksters. You have 4 Artist Talent. Oftentimes I'll Thoughtseize my opponent. They'll have a Talent and a Prankster in hand. I'll take the Talent, and then they'll just Prankster into a Treasure Cruise, and that's what makes that matchup so difficult. So if they really want to beat you and play 3 Hearses and 4 Trespassers, sure, they can beat you or make the matchup close. But if not, I like my matchup against Rakdos, and that was one of the biggest factors in having me choose this deck. And this deck also beats random decks. There is the Dimir Yorion bounce deck. This deck is pretty good against that. Narset's annoying, but we have Arclight Phoenix. Yeah, good luck casting Hopeless Nightmares on my Arclight Phoenixes. Additionally, this deck is really good on the decks that beat on the red decks, like Rakdos. It's really good against Greasefang, and I think it's also got a favorable matchup against Azorius Control. So where this deck really suffers is against what we think is going to be one of the most popular decks, but I do think it's pretty good against everywhere else. So as long as we try to shore up that matchup in the sideboard, I think we made a pretty solid choice here in choosing to pick the Arclight Phoenix. By the way, I will say the one sideboard card I'm not completely sold on. This is an Adam Adelson special. I wouldn't be shocked if I never bring this in at all in the entire tournament, but it's there. And the great part is if I win the tournament, everybody's going to copy this list and put a Crackling Drake in their sideboard. And they're going to think like our team just completely broke it when it was literally the last card that we put in. It was like a second Brazen Borrower. It was a Jace Wielder of Mysteries. It was all kinds of cards. but we ultimately just landed on Crackling Drake as one of the better cards to have against an opponent that just doesn't want to lose to you. So if your opponent's playing 4 Rest in Pieces and whatever, at least you have the out of drawing the Drake. At least that's the thought process, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, I hope I did a good job of at least showcasing what this deck is capable of doing and why we chose to play this deck. Now, the 4 of us, me, Seth Manfield, Adam Adelson, and Liam Kane, are playing this. I am sure to expect more Phoenix players to play. I think Phoenix is probably going to be the 3rd most popular deck played in this event, behind Rakdos and Mono Red. And you know, I fully expect to play against mirrors. Granted, I'm not too well versed in the mirrors, but we'll see. There's not that much interaction, so hopefully it's not that tough. But hopefully by the time you see this, because this is coming out on Sunday, one of us makes it into day 2, and at least one of us makes it into the top 8, or possibly win the whole thing. My money's on the other guys. They're the actual pros. They're qualified for all the events. I am but a lowly YouTube content creator / commentator. So I will, if I'm a betting man, of the 4 of us, I would put myself last. But I think we're all pretty decent Magic players. Seth, of course, is on a different level. You know, he's like S tier. The other 2 guys are maybe A tier. I'm probably in the B+ tier. Maybe just B tier. We'll see. But anyways, anybody can win any single tournament. That's the beauty of Magic. And hopefully it's going to be my weekend by the time you're finished watching this video. And hopefully the next video will just be me resting on my laurels. But we'll see. I'm going to be doing a lot more testing. I have tested this deck thoroughly, where I'm a lot more comfortable piloting the deck. You should have seen me the first time I picked up this deck. I was like, guys, do I cast Opt or Sleight of Hand turn 1? Guys, turn 2, do I, like, is this Talent good or Prankster? Or like, hey, what should I be looting away with the There's just, yeah. There's a lot. This deck is all about sequencing, counting your graveyard, and counting basically the cards in your graveyard for Treasure Cruise, for your Fiery Impulse, and making sure that the Prof's Eidetic Memory is still in your deck. Those are some of the most important things to keep in mind when you're playing this deck. And hopefully I don't forget any of those things. I have one gripe before I sign off here. Arena, if anybody on the Arena team's watching, please, for the love of God, put a number next to Prof's Eidetic Memory to help keep track of the number of cards that have been drawn. It doesn't tell you until the trigger resolves. So I'm going to need a notebook. Because oftentimes, like, let's say your opponent's at 12 and you have an Arclight Phoenix in play. And then you have an Artist Talent and you're like casting Treasure Cruises and you're looting through everything. Sometimes you just kind of forget. It's like you have a Phoenix and they're at 12. You're like, did I draw 8 cards or 9 cards? That could literally mean the difference between a win or a loss. So please, if you can program in, because on Magic Online, you can look at the turn history, and you can look at every little thing that you did. But here on Arena, it's very, very difficult to track. So if somebody puts in the number of cards that were drawn beyond the card that you drew for the turn on a memory, that would be amazing for all of us Phoenix players on Explorer. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This will be my deck for the Arena Championship. Maybe I'm doing well, maybe I'm doing not. But you know what? I still got to really enjoy this testing process. Big shout out to my teammates. It was really, really great to just kind of get a taste of competitive Magic once again. Being in the trenches, it is different than commentating. When I'm commentating, all I'm doing is playing every deck, maybe 5 matches, getting a good feel for what each deck is trying to do, and then picking a deck and then just kind of playing that a little bit. Here, I mean, you know what it's like. You've played in PTQs, you've played in regional championships. You're looking, you're agonizing over one. We literally spent an hour discussing the merits of Shivan Reef versus a River Pyre Verge mana base. Like, we were just going over. We're like, do we want to take a damage from Shivan Reef? And ultimately, we were like, we want as many early blue sources as possible for the cantrips, and we went with the Shivan Reef. But we spent forever on that. We spent forever figuring out if we wanted a second Prof's Eidetic Memory or if we wanted to play the Time Walk combo. We spent forever thinking about 2 red cap melees, 2 Chandra's defeats, or 1 of each. 3 Ether Gusts, or 2 Ether Gusts, and it changed the equation. All these little things. Everybody's been there. Everybody's played in these events. But the thing is, oftentimes when you're playing at a PTQ, you're like, screw it, whatever, I'm done. We're playing for $30,000 and a shot at the World Championship in a 50-person tournament. This is one of the highest EV tournaments you will ever find, which is why we were agonizing over every last card, because there's so few people. This gives us the best chance to win a good chunk of money and also live our dream of putting our face into one of those Magic the Gathering cards. All right, now I'm officially done. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, as I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more daily videos just like this. If you've enjoyed this content and wanted to support the channel in another way, my Patreon is the best way to do so. Patreon.com/paulcheon. Shout out once again to all of the patrons. Also, make sure you check out TCGplayer.com for all of your TCG singles and sealed product needs. Pre-orders for Tarkir booster boxes are available. If you want to buy booster boxes, make sure you click that affiliate link in the description below before doing so, as that'll tell you I sent you. Additionally, go to heavyplay.com for premium Magic the Gathering supplies and accessories. If you want top-of-the-line deck boxes, playmats, sleeves, dice boxes, and more, heavyplay.com/paulcheon will get you 10% off your first order. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.